Hey, what's up guys, Stay Patient here and welcome to this week's trophy update. Now, I just want to mention first of all that this series is going to be moving to Monday. Now, this is something I've mentioned as a possibility for a few weeks now, and it is going to be happening, starting from next week. So rather than uploading it on Sunday, which is usually the case at the moment, I'm going to give it a Monday night slot. It's going to be 7 p.m. GMT, and that translates to 2 p.m. Eastern time. So I guess that's 11 a.m. if you're on the West Coast. Now, this is based partly on, some research I've done about when is the best time to upload on YouTube each day and things like that. And it's also based on the fact that it gives me a bit more structure because I'm looking into setting up a schedule for the channel. So it helps me sort of structure my life a bit more, and it will also help you guys know what content to expect on which days and at specifically what times. So the other thing I'm going to be doing is making the PlayStation Store sale reviews, which is something I've been doing sort of sporadically over the last few weeks. I'm going to make that a regular weekly feature, and I'm going to do a video on the US store and one on the European one. Now, as far as I know, the stores update on Tuesday. I'm not sure exactly what time. People say different times whenever I try and look it up. So I'm going to do some research myself. I'm going to check this week and find out, what time these sales are fully updated and uploaded onto the store. And then I'm going to decide whether it's going to be a Tuesday video or a Wednesday one. Like I say, I'll do 2 videos, one for each store. And then obviously once a month, I'll be putting up the video reviewing the PlayStation Plus freebies for the following month. So that's all going to be sort of Tuesday, Wednesday kind of time. I'm also going to be pushing back the Trophy Hunters Hangout video either to Thursday or Friday. Now, that video and also the Trophy update, which we're doing now, both of those are going to be uploaded to Patreon. The update will be a day early if it's ready on Sunday, and then the Hangout video will be several days early. So they will be getting early access. If you're subscribed on Patreon, you'll be able to, watch those videos before anyone on YouTube. And that's a reward that applies to everybody, no matter how much you pledge. So if you want to jump on and just pledge $1 a month, you will be getting early access to some of my regular content. But so that I can figure out sort of the second half of the week, I do have a question for you guys. There are 3 pieces of content that I need to fit in, and I need to sort of figure out how regular each one's going to be, because they're not all going to be weekly videos. That would be far too much work. So there's going to be the top 10s, which I do occasionally, the Subscribers Trophy Collection review series, which is something that I'm going to be bringing back, as I've mentioned. It's going to be, I think, maybe coming back this week. And the third one is the How to Be a Trophy Hunter series. So these 3 pieces of content need to fit in, and I'd love to hear back from you guys as to which one of those videos you would rather see on a more regular basis. More than just once a month, basically. Then I can kind of fit everything else around it. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below, guys. Now, the other thing I was going to mention, guys, is that if you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, I do have a voting poll open on Patreon at the moment. It's open to the public, though. It's not just for Patreon subscribers, and it's related to how we're going to go about celebrating the 10,000 sub milestone. Now, we can actually take a look and see which one of these is currently winning. This is my Patreon page here. Here it is, let's celebrate 10k subs, but how? So we've got 5 options here. I ran through them in yesterday's video, so I won't run through them again because most of you will have already seen it. But by far the winning option is a stream running through my trophy journey, so looking at all the platinums I've ever earned, and I'll be doing it live, because I was thinking, originally I thought I'll do a video, running through my plats. But then I thought, you know what, a lot of people have asked me to do a stream with like a Q&A. And so I figured, well, why not incorporate that into this, which is kind of like a subscribers trophy collection review. I need to find a new name for that. It's a bit long-winded, isn't it? But it's going to be live, like I say, so that you guys can, watch me going through my plats, but then ask me any questions about the games that I played, and ask me anything you like, really. It doesn't have to be related to what we're talking about at the time, but that should be quite interesting. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, because obviously I've earned several hundred platinums. But fingers crossed we can get through it. I'll try and kind of whiz through pretty quickly with a very brief summary of each one, whether I enjoyed it and how hard it was and things like that. But then we'll kind of go into more detail on any of the games that you guys show interest in, or if you ask me any questions about them. But that's going to be interesting. That's going to be, if it does end up being a stream, I'm thinking that's going to be on Tuesday. So that will be Tuesday evening, probably around 7 p.m. for me. Now, I apologise if that's kind of right smack bang in the middle of your work day if you're in America. But obviously if I wait until you finish work, then it's like midnight here, so it just wouldn't make any sense. So I will obviously be uploading it as a video after if you do miss it, if you do miss the live stream itself. So you can catch it later. Anyway, guys, you're here for the trophy update, so I'm sorry to have rambled on for so long about other things. I felt like there was probably enough time to, because there's not actually many games to discuss today. So I thought, I'd pad out the video with a bit of an intro there. But obviously last week we got up to Dying Reborn, and it's worth taking a look at that because you can see here the completion percentage is pretty high for one of them at least. It's a bit odd that one of them's so high and one of them's low. I haven't had a chance to look into whether that's because of a glitch maybe on one of the versions. I don't actually know. This is something that I'm quite noobish about. Is that a word? I don't actually know how to check the region of a game on psnprofiles.com. This is something they really need to add. Obviously on PlayStationTrophies.org, it tells you what region each game is, if there are stacking regions. But let's have a look at the one with the lower percentage. Oh, okay, it's not glitched. It's still got 20% people have platted it. It might just be the lower number of players, to be honest. That's probably it. Maybe it's not been out as long. Maybe the release dates were staggered. Yeah, but as you can see, 60% average completion, 45%. This is the game we looked at last week. I think we watched a trailer of it. It's kind of like a semi-horror sort of puzzle game. From what I've read, it's almost like Saw, you're trying to escape from a madman. And I read some reviews. It doesn't look... It seems as though it's just jump scares, It's very obvious jump scares that feel very tacked on, very forced. So I'm not sure if it's going to be that great a game. But if you look at the completion times on it, we've got people here sort of an hour, 2 hours, and there is although the forum on PlayStationTrophies.org is very quiet, there's literally only one post. There's not a difficulty rating thread or anything like that. But Rust1994, he runs a channel where he basically does guides for similar games to the ones I do guides for. The quick games where you can do one video with a full playthrough. He doesn't include commentary, but obviously if I'm not doing a guide for a game, then he's a good alternative because he does do a lot of the similar games that you guys look for on my channel. So, give him a shout out, because if you're looking for a guide on my channel and I've not done one, and I've maybe stated that I'm not going to be doing one for whatever reason, then Rust1994 is a useful channel to subscribe to. But if we click on his link here, this is his video guide basically. His lack of commentary carries over to his posts as well, because as you can see, he's literally written nothing. I mean, he's quite handily put in timestamps, but you can see here, if we click on the video, it's just over an hour long. So this is his guide, which I'm assuming implies that you can plat it in an hour. Any of his other videos that I've watched have... they have shown everything. They haven't cut anything out. So I'm guessing that this is the entire playthrough from start to finish, not edited down. Sometimes the video might be an hour long, but the game itself is 3 hours long because people have cut things out. But he tends to leave everything in. So I think it's the kind of game that you will be able to plat in an hour, or maybe two if you're watching the guide and then copying it yourself. Whenever I watch these kinds of guides, I always put it to double speed, unless it's too fast to keep track of. But yeah, that's Dying Reborn. And the useful thing about that, obviously, is the fact that there are actually several trophy lists. In fact, if we come back here, we'll have to search for it again here. You'll notice there's quite a few. There's actually 5. Some of them are foreign. One of them is a Japanese Vita version, so we won't be able to play that because you can't play games from other accounts on your Vita, on your own account. But we've got 2 VR ones. The Japanese one stacks. These 2 don't have platinums. But I'm guessing, if you're able to earn the plat on the main version, then you should be able to earn the VR one. Obviously, it's going to play quite differently because you're maybe using the Move controllers or whatever. But we have got the European and the North American stack, so you will be able to earn 2 platinums by following this nice, quick, easy guide that Russ has got up. So if we move on to this week's games, the new additions, there's not a huge number of them. There are some curious ones here, some interesting looking ones. Where do we get to? Oh, the big one. Tell you what, we'll get to Wildlands in a second. We'll do them in order. Rayon Riddles, Rise of the Goblin King. Let's check out a trailer for this. So this is one of the trailers that doesn't really describe the game very well. It's just, I mean, it's not a CG trailer. It is gameplay, I guess, but it's difficult to tell what kind of genre it is. You can see here, it looks like a platformer. I have watched some gameplay of it, and it is basically a puzzle platformer or like an adventure game. And I believe you maybe collect other orcs. Is it orcs? No, goblins. And they sort of come and help you. Maybe they've got different abilities. It looks quite clunky. The actual gameplay itself looks fairly clunky. And as you can see from the graphics as well, it's almost like sort of upscaled PS2 graphics in a way. It doesn't look like a great game, but I mean, it could well be one of the easy plats. I've had a look through the trophies, and we'll take a look together in a moment. But it doesn't look too tough. It looks like one of those games that has a lot of missable trophies that involve doing things differently to how you're supposed to. So it's not just a case of completing it. It does seem like a game that might be easy to figure out when it comes to trophies. But if you did have a guide, it would be even more straightforward. And I don't think there's anything there that looks like it's going to be tricky in any way. But yeah, I don't know. How long is this trailer? Do you ever get bored watching trailers? It's finished now. Some of them just kind of go on for too long. But you see what I mean there? It's kind of one of those games that you almost can't tell if it's a third-person adventure, like platformer, or whether it's a top-down, like strategy game, or like tower defense, or what, But it is a platformer. You can check out some gameplay for it if you like. Obviously, there's nobody playing the game yet. It's not released. This is the case with most games that we review on this weekly video, but obviously we'll come back next week or the week after when people played it and take another look. But yeah, the trophies, we're not going to read through them all, but there are a lot of ones. There's like some collectible ones there. There's lots that involve dying or not dying or like... hang on. Let's find them, because it's quite funny how many... Yeah, so die several times and repeat. And then we've got live, die, resurrect, repeat. And then is there any death? Dying, is there? I'm sure there was more anyway. You can have a look through. Die several times and repeat. Did we read that one? There's one for like not dying, I think, or don't get killed. Here you go, yeah. Don't get killed, get killed, and then get killed again. And then there's ones about resurrecting, and there's like, I think 5 trophies related to just dying a load of times. I'm not sure whether they are in different sections of the game. But, we'll soon find out. So next up, we have the big AAA release this week, which is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. In fact, speaking of AAA releases, I will just mention that I have been able to find a few hours to play Horizon, which is unlike me. I haven't had much time for just gaming for fun recently, but I've played probably 4 hours of it. And I have to say, it's a really great game. If you're on the fence, I totally recommend it. I haven't really got into the game proper yet because I've been doing side quests in the first area. But, I've been getting used to the combat and everything, trying out different things. And I'm about to do like the first, or, one of the earlier big story missions that's going to like open up the rest of the map. But so far it's amazing. And one thing I will say is if you've got a PS4 Pro and a proper like 4K HDR TV, like full proper HDR, which is like HDR 10 or 1000 depending on the brand, and then you've got like scaled down HDR. But if you've got a decent TV and you've got a PS4 Pro, it looks absolutely unbelievable. It's potentially the best looking game I've ever seen in proper 4K. I've literally spent time in the photo mode just playing around. Like you see a vista, at night maybe the moon's like shining through the trees and all the mist is lit up in the valley and stuff. You just literally end up going to the photo mode and just playing around, just looking at it in awe, It's just incredible. Like, you have to play it. If you've got a PS4 Pro and you're thinking, what's the game that's finally going to really show what it can do, this is it. Horizon is amazing. But moving on to a game that I don't think is going to look as good. I saw a video on Ghost Recon Wildlands. It was actually from a few months ago, and I think they have improved it since then. But basically, it was a video all about how they downscaled it since the early gameplay videos. So it looked amazing. The gameplay teasers back during earlier E3s looked really good. And then there was some gameplay footage from a few months ago that looked terrible in comparison. Now, I've seen some footage recently, and obviously you don't expect it to look as good as a lot of other games because apparently it's a massive open world. Some of you may have played the beta, and I'd love to hear your feedback because I'm kind of wondering whether I want to buy this. Like I say, I probably won't have time to play it, as is the case with pretty much every game I buy. Up on that stack there, I've got like dozens and dozens of games that are still in there wrapping, but eventually I'll find some time for them. But I am kind of on the fence. I'm thinking this, from the feedback I've heard, I've seen some videos on it, and people have been saying some really good things about it. Like I say, obviously it's not going to look amazing, but it's got a huge open world. It's a lot of fun to play with friends. One of the things you'll notice from looking through the trophies is the fact that, there are 2 co-op related trophies. Obviously this isn't an MMO. I don't think it's a shared world shooter like The Division or Destiny, but it's more of a co-op shooter. I don't think you come across other players in the world. I may have that wrong, so don't quote me on it. But from what I understand, it's all about you and your squad of 4. So, you and 3 other players. But the cool thing is you can play it completely solo because you can have those 3 other players controlled by AI if you're not playing with other real people. So when it comes to the trophies, you'll notice here we've got teamwork, which is for completing 3 missions with another player. So that's not even a squad of 4. You only need 1 other player, and you only need to complete 3 missions. The other one is killed an enemy in close combat who was hurt by another player. That's going to be super easy. When you're with the other player that you're playing with, when you've paired up with someone else to do the 3 missions, then all you need to do is have them shoot an enemy once, and then you go in and melee them, and done. And they are literally the only 2 trophies that require more than 1 player. All the rest can be earned completely solo. Now, I'm not actually sure if this is an online only game. I feel like it might be because that's sort of the direction Ubisoft are taking. But like I say, you can literally just play it. I mean, it's such a huge open world, but you can pretty much treat it as a single player open world, not adventure, but, I guess stealth action game or whatever. But it does look good. The trophies, if we have a quick scan through, because this is the big release this week. It's out on Tuesday, so if you're watching this tomorrow or Monday maybe, or tonight, it's out this Tuesday, so the 7th of March. It's quite a big month this month, isn't it? We've had Horizon already, just at the end of the last month. We've got this, and then we've got Mass Effect at the end of the month. That's going to be insane. I can't wait for that, man. But yeah, if we just have a quick scan through, because there's not a huge amount of other games to look at, so we've got time to look through these trophies. Skydive 10 times, easy, obviously probably happen naturally. This looks like it could be tricky or maybe a bit random, but I suppose if you've got a mortar, you can just keep using it if there's choppers around and just hope for the best, hope for a bit of luck. For those of you listening and not watching, I realised I didn't actually read out the trophy. It says shot an enemy chopper out of the air with a mortar. So yeah, a lot of luck involved with that, I assume. Drive a vehicle for 100 kilometers, interrogate 20 sources, found 50% of the documents in the game, and found all documents. This is the first trophy that catches my eye because I've heard that it's a massive open world, possibly even bigger than Skyrim and games like that. Obviously in Skyrim you can only walk, so it feels bigger because you're traveling around a lot slower. In this you've got vehicles and stuff, so it probably won't be too bad. You'll be able to drive from collectible to collectible when there's some guides up for it, and you might well, because it's a Ubisoft game, they might kind of reveal all the collectibles to you and give you, the locations on the map, so you can just go straight to them. Defeat your first boss. There's a couple trophies for finishing the story. There's one here that completed all story missions, and one for finishing the story. Now, I think what this is referring to is something I've read about or that I heard on a YouTube video, is that it's very open-ended and you can go to any location. You can literally start the game and travel to anywhere in the map and do story missions in that location. So there's no set order. So I'm guessing there are some story missions that you have to do to get to the final story mission, and then you can finish that and you finish the story. But then you can probably go back and do the rest of the missions that you missed, the rest of the story missions that are still there that weren't necessarily imperative to complete. So I think that's why there's 2 trophies, but they're both gold. So you get 2 gold trophies just for basically finishing all the story missions. Now we've got some operations here: smuggling, production, security, and influence. I'm not sure what they are, but they might be something like, the strikes or raids in other games, a bit like the event or the content that they added to the Division. I forget what they were called, but they were basically like the Division's version of a raid. So that might be what they are. Either that, or maybe they're just side quests, series of side quests. Took out a sniper with a pistol, be easy enough. Obviously, just find a building where there's a sniper and shoot him with a pistol. A lot of these are so easy. We've talked about that, completing missions with another player. And then we've got, completed the first mission. I'm guessing that's just like the gimme trophy. There's always one trophy, isn't there, in each game where they just give you a trophy really early on just to kind of spark that interest in, oh yeah, the game's got trophies. A lot of people aren't trophy hunters, so when they play it, especially with a game like this that you could technically complete and then just move on from. But if you're aware of the trophies, then you go and have a look and you're like, oh, there's more stuff I can do. And you kind of sort of motivates you to keep playing. Got some more easy ones here. Marking 100 enemies with a drone and with the binoculars. Killing 7 enemies with C4 in a single C4 blast. 7 enemies with a single mine. I'm guessing not many people have earned these. So this is either going to be something that's going to be tricky to set up, or maybe there are some vehicles in the game that, house 7 enemies, like transport vehicles or something, trucks that carry enemies around, maybe reinforcements. When you get spotted, you can leave C4 on the ground where the reinforcements are going to come from. And I think that will probably be simple enough when we find a decent way of doing it. Either that, or maybe 2 vehicles, like trying to put a vehicle blocking a road and have 2 vehicles come in close and then blow them up together. We'll see though. Discovering all the legends, not sure what that refers to, maybe collectibles or something side mission related. Played each type of side mission, so there are side missions in the game. I'm not sure if you have to complete them all, but you do need to play one of each type by the looks of this. Maybe they're races and things like that, I'm not sure. Tagged 10 convoys, bought all the upgrades of a skill branch, and bought all upgrades full stop. So I'm not sure how the leveling system works. I did watch a video where they said there isn't a conventional XP leveling system, but then I did read that there's leveling and looting, and so I'm not really sure how it works. I haven't had a chance to play the beta, so I'm sorry that I'm a bit low on information, but I'm kind of just making assumptions here. But I do like, the ability to buy upgrades or earn upgrades through leveling, just because it does change the game as you go along, Bought all drone-related upgrades. That's going to be cool, having your own little personal drone, using it for marking. I think there's a trophy for killing someone with the drone. Collected all the bonus medals. This is a silver one, and I don't know what the requirements are, but it strikes me as maybe being one of the ones to look out for. Maybe that's going to be a long-winded one, or maybe a difficult one, because I'm guessing it's like optional ways of completing missions or doing it without dying or something. I don't know. We'll see, but I think that might be one of the trickier ones. No one's earned it yet there. Obviously not many people are playing it yet, but there are a few. Unlocked all the rebel skills, maxed out each rebel skill. So again, these are obviously different to the upgrades. We've got skills here, we have to unlock them all and max them out. So I like that idea. Either you're going to be using the skills and leveling them up through use, or you're going to be buying upgrades for them. But I do like the idea of leveling up skills as you use them, a bit like on Skyrim. Every time you use a sword, it levels up your one-handed skill or two-handed skill, depending on the sword. And, I really like that. I think more games should do that, because so many games have got XP points, experience points, and they aren't used in the way that they're intended to be used. Like, anything you do earns you XP, and you can use the skill points you get to upgrade anything. But in reality, the whole point of experience points is the fact that your character gets better at certain things through using those things. It should be that way, really. So some games you'll use melee combat a lot, and then you'll get skill points, and you can put those skill points into ranged combat, which doesn't make any sense to me. So Skyrim, I think, is a great system, because you only level up the skill that you're actively using, which means that your character is built around your playstyle. I really like that. And if that's how this works, then that's really cool. But I doubt it, because it's only Ubisoft. We've got to collect, there's quite a few different weapon models that we need to collect. We've got to collect all shotgun models, handgun models, and there are a few more further down as well. I don't know why they didn't put them all together. Here's the trophy that made me think that obviously there are XP levels. Maxed out your XP and levels. So I'm not sure why they've separated them, but it's going to be interesting seeing how the experience works in the game. This could be tricky depending on how the wind affects your shots and everything, but hit a target more than 400 meters away. Close combat kill at night. This is the one we spoke about earlier. Close combat kill on some, an enemy that was injured by another player. Killed an enemy with a drone. I'm guessing the drones don't attack, so you're going to have to fly down and run them over. A bit like, I think there was a trophy like that on one of the battlefields. Destroyed a generator with a C4 blast. Should be easy. Collected all submachine gun models, so more of these trophies here, 4 of them actually, so I think there's 6 trophies overall. Sorry if you can hear a motorbike going by. There are 6 trophies overall for collecting gun models, so I don't know if these are collectibles or whether it's a case of unlocking all the weapons for use in the game. But if you're going to be collecting all of them, and they are guns that you use, then that could be quite long-winded, or it could mean that there aren't that many weapons in the game. But we'll soon see. So we've got submachine guns, light machine guns, sniper rifles, assault rifles, and handguns and shotguns. Anyway, that's Wildlands, guys. It does look kind of cool. We're not going to watch any footage for it because there's been footage all over the place. You've probably been inundated by it. In fact, you may well have had an advert for it at the start of this video, for all I know. But we're going to take a look at the rest of the games that have been put up this week, guys. Winning Post 8, this is a Japanese series, isn't it? Like horse racing. I've never played one of them, and I don't think there are any trophy guides for any of the previous games, so there's not really much we can go on here. I don't think it's going to be a series that you guys are going to be diving on anytime soon. We do have a new Arcade Archives game, one of the very easy ones, look, 94% average completion. Some of those are super easy, and generally they take about 10 minutes or so, 5 minutes here. What you can do with these, if you do want to be high up in the fastest achievers list, sorry, I'll move it up because my webcam will be in the way otherwise. What you can do is, because the trophies themselves, let's have a look. The trophies are always the same with all of the Arcade Archives games. Basically, you have 3 trophies for getting a certain number of points. And then once you've got the points, you upload your score. And then you've got these 2 here, which is basically for choosing 2 of the options in the menu. Now, a lot of people jump on and just do these 2 to begin with. Go onto the option menus and unlock the 2 trophies that are complete gimmies. But then that means that their completion time starts from there, and then it will end when they've got the points they need, 150,000, and uploaded their score. But what you can do is just work on the points first, and then obviously it's going to be a few minutes or so before you reach 50,000, and then that's when your sort of timing starts, as it were. It starts from the first trophy you earn. So if you start playing, you're kind of cutting off the first section of the game, and that's not included in your platinum completion time. So you get the 50,000 trophy, and then you quickly go and get 100,000, 150,000, and then you quickly choose the 2 options, and it really drastically cuts down your completion time. That's how people are getting like 5-minute times. It's probably more of a 10-minute trophy set, to be honest. Most of them are, and some of them are so easy. The points you need are really low. Other games are a bit harder. I think there was a Double Dragon one, maybe. I can't remember, but there's 1 or 2. The Ninja Kid, something like that. That was quite a difficult one. And the points you need to get are quite hard because the game itself is quite tricky. But then other ones are literally, you just start the game within like a couple of minutes, you've got the points you need, and you just die, quit out, and choose the 2 options in the menu, and you're done. So some of these are available on the US store. They were originally only on the Japanese store, but they're quite handy for quick, like super quick, just burst of trophies. You don't get many. You get 285 points here. And you can see from platinums, 1,230. But they're still worthwhile if they're cheap enough. It's not worth £5 or more. I think they usually are quite expensive. But anyway, I'm rambling now. Let's move on. Blue Reflection is a Japanese RPG. We're not going to look at it. I don't know. I don't think it's out in the West. The trophies, are the trophies in? Oh, the trophies are in English, so you might be able to buy it here as well. Oh, releases here, look. PS4, Japan, PS Vita, Japan. Okay, that's odd then. It is only out in Japan by the looks of things, but it does have English text on the... Oh, maybe because... default. What's default? Oh, okay, so default is English and you can change it to Japanese. All right, so I'm guessing they're expecting people to import it from Japan and play it in the West. It looks okay. I haven't really looked into it too much. I watched some gameplay. It's just a generic Japanese RPG. You know, you've got 3 girls with like really unrealistic outfits on, just fighting weird beasts that they'd have no chance against. It sounds like I'm mocking RPGs, doesn't it? I'm not. I love them. I love Japanese RPGs. But it just kind of cracks me up, some of the footage you watch. You know, if you actually relate it to real life, it's completely ridiculous. Anyway, Disc Jam. This is the game that we spoke about in the week. This is next month's, or one of next month's free games. I say next month, it's this month, isn't it? So this will be free from Tuesday, from the 7th. It's a bit of a shame it doesn't have a platinum. If you remember, this is the game that's kind of like what's it called? Air hockey, and a bit like Rocket League, you know, in the sense of how they've sort of marketed the game. It's, you know, 2v2, you're basically throwing a disc at the other team, trying to get it past them to score or knock them out, and you kind of build up special meters and stuff. And it looks fun. It looks quite basic, but again, so was Rocket League, and that was a lot of fun. So if we have a look at the trophies here, they actually look really simple. Complete the basic tutorial and the advanced tutorial, win a singles match, win a doubles match, win a match as Stanton, as McKenna, as Gator, and as Haruka. Win a match without losing a single rally, and I'm guessing you could just do that with a friend and have them fail each time. You know, you could boost a lot of these trophies really easily. Score a point off a serve. Again, I think that's probably just going to come naturally if you use a special meter or something. It knocks the other player right out. Score the final point of a match using a super throw, and win 50 online public matches. That's the gold one. But again, I mean, that's just a case of playing. And I'm guessing if you won 50 public matches, most of the other ones would come naturally along the way, as long as you're switching characters occasionally. It might be that these characters only unlock once you played a certain amount or leveled up to a certain point, but I doubt it, because there's only 4 here. I don't think they're going to start you off with 1 and then force you to unlock the others. Otherwise, everyone's going to be playing as the same character. So I'm guessing they're all going to be available. This looks super easy, guys. It's a real shame it doesn't have a plat, but this is free, of course, so you can jump on in a couple of days' time, download this, and you should be able to plat this within no time at all, really. Obviously, the 50 matches will take a bit of time, but it looks nice and straightforward. That's going to be a fun game as well. Now, we've got Chroma Squad here. We're going to check out a trailer for this. You can tell from the thumbnail here that it's obviously influenced by Power Rangers. And that's basically what it is. It's kind of an homage to Power Rangers. It's like an 8 or 16-bit game. I always forget which one it is. You can tell from this that there's a sense of humour to it. Basically, these guys are stuntmen. You play as like a team of stuntmen, and you're creating your own TV show. And the whole aim of the game is to build up your audience and to build up the viewership of your show. And you do that by fighting, and it's almost like you're creating scenes for the show, but at the same time you are actually fighting monsters, and as you fight them you get better gear, and that better gear allows you to fight better monsters and bring in more viewers, and it's all about running the kind of TV studio, I suppose. It's sorry, I went quiet for a minute there, getting a bit gassy. Yeah, it's the kind of game that's not going to appeal to everyone because of the graphic style, but I think it's a shame if you write a game off straight away because of because of the graphics, or because of the style of the game, the visuals and the art style. But yeah, it looks interesting. Trophy wise, let's have a look at it. Okay, so it's got a platinum. I did have a look through this. It doesn't look too tricky. It's difficult to really tell, though. I'm just gonna, in fact, if we switch it to type, then we'll be able to just have a look at the golds, because I think it's pointless looking through unless you've played a game or you've played a similar game. Then you can't really relate it to anything else. So if you look through every trophy, a lot of them don't really make sense. You can't really tell what they're asking you to do until you play the game. So we're just going to focus on the gold ones and maybe a few of the silver ones, because they're going to be the longest winded and the hardest. We've got to spend a certain amount in the shop. From what I saw, most of the items that Total Biscuit was buying were around like $400 or $500, I guess. Yeah, dollars. So 90,000, that's quite a lot, but it's not, I guess it's not completely unreasonable. Complete the game on challenging difficulty, really depends how hard that is. See all endings, this is interesting, so you will need to play through, I guess, several times. And it also says complete 100 or more episodes in campaign mode. So I'm guessing that it might be a case of trying to build up your viewership on the TV show, and then if it drops to 0 or if it drops below a certain threshold, maybe they cancel your show and that's like the end of the game. Maybe it's like a case of trying to keep going as long as you can. So complete 100 or more episodes, make sure you keep earning more viewers and keep the show alive. I think that's probably how it works, although I'm not sure. Complete the game with the Peacekeepers of the Universe. I don't know what that means. Interesting difficulty. Get help from outer space. See, a lot of these honour the Arbo family. They're not going to make any sense if we look through, really. Craft a legendary item. It's quite cool that you can craft items, and there are different rarities, a bit like most of the other games today. Anyway, it looks kind of curious, you know. We're also getting a PS4 release of Clicker Heroes. This is a phone-based game. I actually watched at least part of one of Markiplier's videos, and he was talking about how he'd become totally like addicted to this and it like taken over his life. And that was playing it on tablet or phone or whatever. I think it's on PC. Maybe you can get it on Steam, but this is one of those click-based games. They call it something else as well, idle games, I think, because a lot of it happens without you needing to be there. You know, you can set it up so it just goes through the motions yourself. And you guys may have played this already. It's one of those games that a lot of people have probably stumbled across if they've ever gone onto the App Store on their phone or whatever. There are microtransactions, but basically this is it. You're clicking on a boss to kill it, and then those bosses give you currency, which allow you, I think, to buy new characters which increase your DPS, and then you also get souls from them. And you take those souls and you can't actually use them to buy better characters or upgrade your characters or whatever it is. You can't use them until you restart. So basically you level up, you get loads of currency, you get to a really high level, and let's just pause this, and you get to the point where you can't really level up much more. You've not got enough DPS to take out the enemies, it takes too long. You could keep tapping like forever, but then I think you need to basically reset everything, start over. All of your characters are leveled down, but you can use those souls to buy some new characters which have got, I think, like a higher level cap or whatever, so that the next time you go through you can get further. So you can see the principle involved here. I think, you know, eventually you get characters that can just do the clicks for you, so you set it to auto basically. But the trophies here kind of back that up. You've got reach level 10, and then you've got attack 50,000 times. A lot of these seem like really high numbers, but when you see it being played, it's just attacking constantly. It's just, you know, over and over again, dozens of times a second sometimes. And so you've got to attack 50,000 times, kill 10,000 monsters, kill 1,000 bosses, get 50 hero upgrades, ascend for the first time, that's when you restart, find a relic, level up heroes 25,000 times. It sounds crazy, but it makes sense when you know how the game works, which I don't really, but I've got a rough idea of it. Defeat all Centennial bosses, open 10,000 treasure chests. From what I hear, that could be a long-winded one, because treasure chests are rare and random. Hire all heroes. Now that might be a case of just playing and playing and playing until you've got all of them. And then you've got to reach level 3,600. So the idea of this is that I think, you know, you get to a certain level and then you have to restart because you haven't got enough DPS. So then the next time you can get to a higher level because you've got stronger characters. And then you keep doing that, keep restarting until you've got strong enough characters to be able to get you to level 3,600. It sounds ridiculous and it's all like automated and it doesn't really seem like even a game. There doesn't seem to be any point to it. But it does strike me as a kind of game that would actually become really addictive for no discernible reason, you know? I'm not really sure how it will go down on PS4. Is it on PS4? Yeah, it is, yeah. It's not even on Vita. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, this is the exact kind of game that I expect to see PS4 and Vita. But it's not, so who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Because it's the kind of game that carries on playing when you're not there. Do you need to leave your PS4 on, or I don't know. It seems very odd to be releasing this on a home console. But there you go. We've got Talisman here. We're not going to look too much into this because I know very little about board games, but basically this is a video game version of one of the fantasy board games that some of you may be into. I know a lot of people are. I'm not into them. I've just never really played them. I've never had friends who are into them, so I've never tried them out. I think I would actually really enjoy them if I gave them a go. But, I probably wouldn't have time anyway. But yeah, like I say, I mean, you can look through this in your own time if you're a big board game fan. No one's played it yet, so we can't really say how hard or long-winded it is, but it's the kind of game that is probably an acquired taste, so it's only going to appeal to some of you. But that's basically all the games we were going to take a look at. Unearthing Mars is a game that we looked at a few weeks ago. That's just a stacking trophy set for it. Now, we were talking about home consoles and portable consoles. Just with that in mind, I'm going to show you, obviously you guys are probably aware that the Nintendo Switch has released this week. And if you're in the UK, let's have a look, where's the Switch? There it is. If you're in the UK, you may have seen this, but the Switch is not actually in stock at the moment, obviously. It sells out pretty quick. But let's just have a look here. Just make sure it isn't in stock again, because I did set up a stock alert. Yeah, it's sold out at the moment. It's really annoying. I wasn't planning on getting a Switch, but I came on here because I heard about the price and it said that they had 18 left, and I was like, oh cool, I'll buy one, and then if I want to keep it I will. If I don't, then I'll sell it and make some money, because everywhere else is selling it for like £280. You've probably seen it. 280, I think that's the recommended retail price, or maybe it's 300, but this is less than £200, which is insane. It's £80 off any of the other prices. I pretty much haven't seen it lower than 180 anywhere else. So this is an absolutely crazy price. So if you're in the UK and you're looking at picking up a Switch, then definitely set up a stock alert here at this is gameseek.co.uk, and you may well be interested in one now. I wasn't originally, but like I say, I did suddenly become interested when I saw that The Legend of Zelda has just reviewed ridiculously well. The new Zelda Breath of the Wild on Nintendo Switch. This has had 40 reviews. Now, usually when a game has reviews, a average review score that's this high, it's usually based on the fact that only a couple of sites have reviewed it. So it might be 100% or 97% because there's a 9.5 and a 10. Or there's some sites that mark it out of 5. So if it gets 5 stars, that's automatically 100%. So this one, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, okay, it's probably only had a few reviews. But look, it's had 40, and 98.14% is the average of those 40 reviews. This is absolutely insane. This could be one of the highest rated games of all time. So, I mean, like I say, I wasn't interested in a Switch, but now I kind of am. Even if I buy one, I probably won't have time to play it, but I feel like I just need to have one in my life just for this. It's a bit annoying that the console doesn't have achievements or trophies of any kind, but it's quite interesting actually. I noticed the other day, I was searching to see if it did have trophies, and I put in, does the Nintendo Switch have achievements? And the fourth option here, or the fourth result, is a IGN video, and if you click on it, hopefully the sound's off, let me just... so this is an excerpt from one of the, Game Scoop videos, and some of you may remember this. This is actually them discussing my question that I wrote in about, and I asked them, here it is, one fan thinks achievements might be the killer app for Nintendo's new console. This was a few weeks ago, before we knew whether it was going to have them or not, and at the time they were kind of almost brushing it off a bit, and as is the case with Game Scoop, whenever they discuss a question, they always go off on a tangent and end up talking about something else. But I was quite chuffed with the fact that, they occasionally take out a section of one of their episodes and upload it as its own individual video. And they've decided to do that with my question, because I think they've realised, since reading it and since kind of discussing it, at first they were like, yeah, it doesn't need achievements or whatever. But since then, I think they've realised from all the feedback that people, so many articles where people were saying, is it going to have achievements? And there's a lot of, here, can the Nintendo Switch survive without achievements? People are genuinely asking, is it going to last? Are people so used to having achievements and trophies to aim for, that, are they going to shy away from the Nintendo Switch? And if they buy one, are they going to bother buying many games for it? That's my issue, is like, if, with trophies and achievements, at least if there's a quiet period where there isn't a big game that you're really desperate to play, you start looking around for other games that you might not have played otherwise, but you think, well, I'll earn some trophies on some games that are new to me or ones that I hadn't thought about playing. So you buy a lot more games based on them having trophies and achievements. So, will the Nintendo Switch be able to sell many games? Who knows? I mean, this obviously is very much a tangent. We're talking about PlayStation trophies in this show. But I just thought it was interesting, the fact that they discussed my question there and they've kind of uploaded it. It's one of the top results when you search for this subject, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I thought I'd take the opportunity just to point out this price. 80 quid cheaper than anywhere else is absolutely amazing. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope I haven't bored you by talking about a console other than PlayStation. But yeah, let me know, as I mentioned at the start, let me know which of those 3 series that I mentioned you would like to see more regularly than the others. Whether it's the subscribers trophy collection review, the top 10s, or the how to be a trophy hunter series. One of those 3 is going to be slightly more regular than the other 2, so I'd like to find out which one you would prefer to see. Okay, guys, have a great week. I will see you on on Tuesday probably for the sale-based videos, and then again, obviously, for the Trophy Hunters Hangout later in the week. Have a good one, and I will catch you very, very soon. Cheers, guys.